Hello.
Hey!
Hello, mate.
Oh my god, guys, we have the legend that is Richie Buckley. Do you realize how special this opportunity is to talk to the man? This man's schedule is so busy in between going to Witherspoons. Was that the name?
You have to relish getting a day off to go to Spoons.
I saw, if you guys don't know what Witherspoons is, we got DH Tex in the chat. Shout out DH Tex, F2 Tex. Apparently Witherspoons is the classiest pub in England. Is that what I'm learning?
No, it's just the best.
It's the best pub in England. I heard that I was reading something on the way back that they shut down all their social media accounts. Is that true?
I won't be surprised.
I think that there's a story about that. Mike's NL with the subscription. Give the man some love in the chat. 2 subs on the day already. All right, Amsterdam hooligans, they say. No, I gotta look this up because I was gonna send it to you and Brandon. Witherspoons.
Hit me up.
Wait, what? Okay. Oh my god. Okay, do not Google search for Witherspoons. Is it weather or wither? Whatever it is, don't Google search for it. Top headline here: a woman with a brain injury was kicked out of a Witherspoons. So that's not good. I don't know where I don't like where this is going. It says Wetherspoons deletes their Twitter. What's really going on with Wetherspoons deleting Twitter? Yeah, they deleted all their accounts. What, like, I don't get it. I thought this place was supposed to be a classy establishment. Wetherspoons is closed.
I never said it was classy, too.
You just said it was the best.
I just said it'd do a job.
They do a job. Okay, that is true. You did say that they do a job. Anyway, somebody that did do a job was us, because we were at FUT Champs Manchester this past weekend.
Yeah, well, as you said, probably a overall much better event than Barcelona.
If you could rate it out of 10.
What, Manchester?
Yes.
I think like a 9.
Ooh. Richie Buckley says 9 out of 10 for Manchester. We got 500 bits from Sean Dare. He says, how do you think you could check my team? I didn't see a link in there, buddy. But we will check that after we talk to Richie Buckley. He says it was a 9 out of 10. And why would you say that? DH Tech says it's a 1. F2 Tech says it's a 1, but he sucks at table tennis, so whatever.
He also sucks at Fortnite.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Was that needed?
Well, yeah, he knows.
Was that necessary? Like that's kind of harsh, man. But I mean, we'll get to that later. Apparently, he needs help in those departments. But yeah. So it was definitely a step up from Barcelona. I mean. A lot of us know how Barcelona went. I'm sure a lot of you heard from the pro players themselves how Barcelona went. And this was the complete opposite, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think very well ran. Pretty much bang on perfect scheduling. Playing 5 games on the Friday in Swiss. Not trying to like cram out games into one day. On Saturday, having like the final couple of games of Swiss style and then getting straight onto the knockout stage. I think the pacing were very good.
Yeah.
Like we're always building in anticipation.
And I think, actually, on all the days we kind of ended earlier than expected.
Yeah, it did.
Especially the first day. The first day was like 2 hours than expected. I think second day, same thing. It was so good that Kurt even tweeted this. Framed this tweet, gotta give it to EA. Tournament organization was outstanding and the venue was amazing. Biggest problem remains that we play a completely different game over here to at home. So the only issue was that people said the game still felt slower than it does at home. But when you get a tweet like that from Kurt, of all people, Kurt.
Get it framed. Get it framed.
We will frame this. Kurt, of all people, complimented EA on something. You'll never see this day again, maybe. I mean, hopefully not, but this, I think this kind of says everything. And Megabit says 100% true as well. But yeah, it was a very well run tournament. My only complaint was that the dessert was too good, and I gained like 2 pounds.
Oh, I'll tell you what, the catering at the event was unbelievable.
Oh my god, it was
hands down the best catering we've ever had.
No, like guys in the chat, like it was like I don't have a sweet tooth really, but I went in on the dessert. They had this. What was that dessert with the toffee, the cake with the toffee. What was it? Smothering. What'd you call it? The sauce that had like toffee sauce.
Oh, I don't know. I had the chocolate and orange tart, and it was pretty remarkable.
Oh my god, it was unreal. It was actually unreal. Like that was unreal catering. 10 out of 10 catering. But there was also stop lying. It was probably pudding. I don't know what it was, man. This guy in the chat is saying that I'm making that up. Sticky toffee pudding. Yeah, it was cake and sticky toffee pudding, and it was unreal. And I ate like about 3 of those. It was not good for me, but it was worth it. Have you got the link now, dude? I do not have any link from you, bro. It's not sending any link. Mods, can you give him? Let me permit him. So I can take a look at his squad. Maybe you can take a look at his squad too, Richie, and give him feedback. You know what? Richie will give you feedback on your squad.
I'll have a look.
So as we all know, Richie Buckley, one half of the greatest commentary team in FIFA history. How does it feel to? It's been what? Has it been like a year?
Not even a year since Berlin.
So. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, this guy is not being able to drop a link. Oh, hold on. It hasn't even been a year since Berlin, and it's been a whirlwind. You guys have been traveling more than I think other people your age. How old are you guys, by the way?
Brandon turned 21 today. I turned 20 last month.
20 last month. And what kind of countries have you been to so far through esports?
Since May, we've been to Amsterdam, Berlin, Munich, Gothenburg in Sweden, Qatar, Los Angeles, San Francisco,
Qatar?
Germany again, Paris.
How was Qatar?
Pretty insane, to be fair. Like, FIFA hooked it up.
Jesus Christ!
For the rest of the world qualifiers.
Oh yeah, that was the. Oh yeah, true. That was the rest of the world qualifiers. And I mean, sorry, I'm trying to help this guy in the chat. Give me a second. Help that guy. As we're seeing highlights from the FUT Champions Cup Manchester. I know who you've got some great trips coming up. I mean, I don't know if you'll announce it. You'll announce it later, but I know these guys have some great other trips coming up. Some trips I cannot even believe. Oh my god. You won't believe where these guys are going to be going in the next couple of years. But yeah, it hasn't been a year. And what made you guys go for it? Like, just go for the whole FIFA esports thing. I know that, you know, there've been other commentators that have also done FIFA on the side, as well as some other sports, some other esports. But what made you guys decide to just strictly focus on FIFA?
Well, it was like when I was between like 15 to like 17, I was doing local radio, back in Barnsley.
Barnsley.
I wanted to like go down the radio route.
Sorry, I'll say that one more time. Barnsley.
So I've never met Brandon before. Went to university, didn't really think about it. We started doing a podcast together, which that's early days. That's like 5 months before we went for the Commentators Cup, and then commentated a little bit for the Celtic Esports League on Twitch, and then just thought, you know what, this Commentators Cup idea, EA's running it, let's just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? They say no. So sent his application for that, got through to the semi-finals, won the tournament, and then the first game that we ever commentated at a big event was that 30 minutes in Berlin.
Oh yeah, that's true. So these guys, they were able to, if you guys remember, you guys in the chat remember, they were able to commentate one of the games in the Berlin Championship where Rocky, of course, came out victorious. They got that one game, and then I remember telling them that night, I'm like, yeah, you guys are set. They're like, oh man, like I don't know, like are we gonna like get more
We didn't
gigs?
think anything of it. We were just like,
I was like, yeah, you guys are fine.
yeah, we did that one game, and then we were just like, this has been a great experience, just like the weekend, like meeting all the players, meeting like YouTubers and like you, Jimmy, Spencer, like people like we never thought we'd meet. And then on the Monday after Berlin, I was sat like at home in Barnsley, and Dinku, the legend
that is
messaged
Dinku,
Brandon and said, "There's the FIWC qualifiers coming up in Munich, and FIFA want you to be part of it. We're doing a live stream. Do you fancy it?" And then since then, it's just been all systems go, really.
And you ended up finding yourself here in FIFA 18. Well, this is the second FIFA 18, I guess, regional. No, what do they call it? Global Series Champions Cup.
So
this is the second
Winter
one
Cup in Barca, and then this is the Spring Cup in Manchester.
In Manchester, your home turf. I'm disappointed. You guys didn't take me out as much as I thought you would. This guy was hyping up Manchester Nights Out to me for months.
The Manchester Night Out is good, but someone couldn't walk 4 foot without complaining.
But this guy was telling me about how he's gonna, we're gonna go out you. Oh my god, like you're gonna get like so hammered, and then I was in bed by like 1 o'clock, to be honest with you.
So next time, if there's another event, or you just come to Manchester.
Yeah, I'll come to Manchester to see United lose to West Brom 1-0. I don't want to talk about that.
I did call that.
He actually did call like West Brom beating United. That was terrible. He actually called it. He actually literally he almost got the minute right, but he got the.
I said 77th minute.
And when did the guy score?
Let's look at his team then.
Yeah, take a look at this guy's team. This is from Sean Adair. He's got, what is it, 4-3-2-1. He's got, Baby Rui Costa. Come on, you need to get that up. You're still using Bakayoko. Larson, I'll give you that. Prime Larson. Nice front three. Like sweaty, good front three. I think that midfield needs work. What do you think, Richie?
If anything, I'd go, I'd try and rework the entire left-hand side. So maybe like Alaba, Boateng, Tolisso. But then Mane gets 6 cam.
Yeah, the back line. Van Dijk can hold his own, I guess. But yeah, I would say from like, the midfield down. I think it needs to rework, especially, I don't know how Baby Rui Costa is. I know Prime Rui Costa is okay, but definitely need some OP guys. I would say just wait until team of the season, honestly, at this point. Because you get some good team of the season, Premier League CMs to replace Bakayoko and Henderson, and even Rui Costa, and also some center back. So, yeah, if you guys are going through like a...
team of the season, Doucouré.
You think he's going to get one? Would you say he's going to get
Doucouré.
one? Doucouré, yeah. He's going to get one?
Yeah, he'll get in the most consistent, I reckon.
So most consistent, and then we'll get like team of the season Ederson, team of the season De Gea, all those kind of stuff. So good base for this team, but I would say just chill. Don't make any moves until Premier League team of the season. I would suggest. Now going back to Champions Cup, we had a great what do they call it? Swiss round format. Are you still a fan of the Swiss round format, by the way?
Yeah, I think it's the most consistent format to limit the amount of excuses that pros can make.
Wow.
Personally.
Wow.
You see it all the time with like group stages. Like even they say it like the best players come out of Swiss. So like the best players over a consistent of 7 games come out of Swiss. So if you're in a group and say like look at Paris, like people like saying like last year like it's a group of death, or at ESWC that we did like a couple of weeks ago. Like some of the groups were stacked. Like one of the groups had like Harry, Dax. Harry, Dax were the bottom 2 in the group, and like they didn't go through. If that had been played in a Swiss style, like they might have gone through because it's more consistent.
That is a good point actually, because yeah, when you do get the groups, you always get groups of death. And in this one, you never got that vibe of like, oh my god, like, because it was just like all the people from Xbox, you know, it's a fair chance. Versus, oh my god, it sucks because I'm grouped with Taz. Rocky.
If you're in the
Dax,
top 32 players
kind of
on their console, you'll go through.
Damn. So we got text saying, "Don't try to trigger me, please, Richard." I'm glad that he calls you Richard. I'm glad that you guys are on that basis. You guys are very friendly.
We're on that first name basis.
First name basis. He doesn't even like give you nicknames. Straight up Richard. So we had on the Xbox side, we had Janos with a 7-0 record. Did you expect that from Janos to just like beast up out of nowhere? I mean, he is.
Well, after watching him in Gfinity, like, I weren't really, but I said it on commentary. I said Janos, when he goes to events, he goes Super Saiyan. Like, he just clutches up so much at events.
I feel like that's what he would say.
Literally, he clutches up so hard. Like, FIWC Grand Final last year, top 4. Finished in playoffs in Barca. Like, literally, he just turns up.
Is that the experience? Because he's not old compared to me. He's young compared to me, but in the FIFA esports scene, he's like 27, 28, I want to say.
I think he's 25.
25. Oh, I guess he isn't. Wait, who am I thinking of? But he's just been around for a long time, right?
He's been competing for ages, though, Janos. Like, 2011 Grand Finalist in the FIWC in Los Angeles.
I think that was on a rooftop in E3. I remember. I feel like I saw that. I think I was at E3 for that. But he's been around for ages, and then he goes on the 7-0 tier. And the funny thing is that, like, I don't think he was I don't think his matches were broadcasted too much, so you didn't really see him like just like destroy people. You just kind of heard that like in the background, like, oh, Janos is 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, and then you're just like, okay. So I don't remember actually seeing more than one of his matches on the screen, but so he did amazingly well. And then with a 6-1 record, we had Kurt, some guy called F2 Tex that needs a babysitter, and PSG Dax. I was very happy to see Dax. Like, I don't know why I like Dax so much. I don't know why. Like, it's because he doesn't say much. He just kind of like, he's still kind of like happy-go-lucky, but he doesn't say much. You know what I mean? Or maybe because we're not French. There's a language barrier, but there's always something I always liked about Dax.
I think the thing with Dax is, like, he's got quite a reputation for, like, at the beginning of the game, being ridiculously good and picking it up very quickly. Like, if you look at, like, Paris Games in, like, November, he won that. Year before that, he won Paris Games, the SWC again. But, like, he usually, like, everyone else, it's a longer learning curve for the game. So, like, he peaks early and then doesn't really, like, improve, you could say. And everybody else, like, gets better as the game goes on. I think this year, he seems to just be getting better and better.
He has been. And he had my favorite picture of the whole tournament. I don't know why this, for me, is the funniest picture ever. But it kind of explains what I was trying to explain about why I like Dax. Is like, he's quiet. You think he's quiet, but then, you know, dude knows how to have fun. When he wins, you know, he'll be happy. But otherwise, outside of like when he's like competing, like he's just like, he seems like just like a nice little quiet guy. And he just turned 18, I believe, on the last day of the tournament. So I think there was a birthday cake that came out for him. Thank you for the 15 bits, Christian Ravens too. Lots of great pictures. We'll get to more of them later on. So they had a 6-1 record. F2 Tex. I pretend like he's not here. How do you think he did during this performance? You know, after all the hype from Barcelona, where I think he dominated the opposition. What do you think of his performance in Manchester?
I think he had some very, very, like, really solid performances. Like, if you look at some of the wins, like big goal margins. But the one guy that, like, he even said that he struggled the most against was Remy Martin.
Remy Martin, let's go. I'll get to that in a bit.
Where he beat him in the Swiss style. So then, when they faced up later in competition, just had his number.
And then moving on to the guys that had a 5-2 record, we had Gorilla, Goal Machine, NA all day, Hashtag Harry, NSC, Spider Kong, Zelonius, Face, Tass, Thomason God. I actually never got to meet him. I never got to meet Jay Parkey as well. Felipe, ABD, NRascek, Falcon MSDosary, who we'll talk about later, and XL Painter. So a lot of familiar names in the 5-2 bracket. I mean, was it surprising that the people with the best records didn't eventually get to the final?
I think the 5-2 is just like, if you just look at some of the names in that 5-2 bracket, it's so stacked. Like Gorilla, Harry, Tass, Zelonius, Desari, Spidercon, like every single name in that 5-2 could have gone on and won it, like from there on. But it's a bit of a cliche, but like legitimately we say it, and I think that 5-2 bracket like amplifies what we say before the tournament. Like literally anybody can win the tournament.
That's true. That's a good point. And I want to give a special shout out to Gold Machine 21 from Toronto, the place I live currently. Took down a lot of names of the tournament. He had that dramatic victory against Gorilla. He also beat... Who was it that he beat after Gorilla?
Gold Machine?
Yeah, Gold Machine.
He beat Gorilla, then he beat Megabit.
Then he beat Megabit. So Gorilla and Megabit, two freaking huge scalps to take from the North American. Also, Remy Martin, a.k.a. Imperial Martin, who was... I mean, the only times I've met him before was at the last year's MLS Martial Soccer Challenge, and a lot of people have been seeing him in his packs have been opened by Castro, things like that, so a lot of people might have been hearing his name there, but still kind of like, I always like these tournaments because I like tournaments like this where like nobody studies the players from North America, and then the North American players come out of nowhere because everybody's always focused on the other European player style and reading up on them, and then some of the North American guys, kind of like Phil B last year and Joey, just come out of nowhere and just take people's lunch money, man. How'd you feel about North America in this tournament?
I think this tournament has just proven that the Americas region as a whole and the rest of the world is like legit here to stay. Like, if you look down who everyone was saying were going to win the tournament, Nicolas from Argentina, who were like some of the best performers at the tournament, MSDosary, Saudi Arabia, Llanos, Colombia. Like, everybody was saying that it was going to be one of them like 3 players who were going to win it. So like the people who say like EU is better than like whatever, like NA or rest of the world, etc. There's no real argument there, in my opinion. Like, there might be a wider talent pool, and there might be like better players over, like, say, a wider in Europe. So like Germany is like one of the best countries in Europe, but in terms of like just standout players who can win a tournament, you're probably looking at like Nicolas.
That's a good point. And we're seeing some highlights from Gold Machine's game against Megabit. I mean, he had some real cheese there, but it was excuse me. Yeah, it's funny because people think I always wonder why people think that like, oh, somebody from North America can't come and win one of these. Like, at one of these tournaments, it can be anybody's day, to be honest with you. Like, it can be, you might think Nicolas might be the one winning everything, then something just doesn't go his way. I think it's anybody's game in one of these, but excuse me. I'm glad that the two guys got to, I guess, not come out of the shadow of like NYC Chris and Phil B, but just to show that Phil B and NYC Chris weren't flukes. You know what I mean? Because those are the only two people that a lot of people know, because they are always representing North America in these tournaments, always making it through the group stage. So everybody really knows. I think before this, most people just knew about Phil B and NYC Chris, of course,
and Joey.
And Joey, exactly, exactly. So I feel like everybody kind of was always kind of like, oh, you know, it's just, yeah, it's those 3 and everybody else sucks. But now, you know, you're adding 2 more to the list.
Some serious talent coming out of that region at the minute, and I think with the MLS, and then you saw like the Gfinity Americas as well. Like, there's gonna be some solid American players at the playoffs.
Exactly, guys. I told you never to sleep on NA. Everybody thinks I'm joking when I go like crazy for North America esports.
I said it as well. I'm not sure if it's a fact or if it's just me having a conspiracy. But you know, when a player travels a long way for a tournament, I always feel like there's added value to perform for that player.
No, you think that because he feels like he has to perform?
Yeah, like he's flown all that way, done in the effort, he's put all the effort in, and like he's there to perform. I think it works with that, and I think it works with people playing in the home country as well. Like you want him to like represent your home country, like Guerrilla War in London last year. Like he was so motivated to win the grand final.
That's a good point. I'm getting a DM from Tech, says Riggy Martin, not Remy Martin. Says the guy who lost to him. Anyway, Tass is also 5-2, but unfortunately he also went out to Remy Martin. So Remy Martin took out a lot of names. He took out Tass. He beat Tex, and he also beat somebody else, I want to say, on his way. I think in one of his last group games.
He got knocked out to,
he got knocked out by Dasari
in
the end, which is nothing
in
to
the
be
quarterfinals.
Yeah, which is nothing to be shy about. I mean, you got beaten by the guy that won the tournament. I always think that's a good thing. But yeah, Imperial Martin, aka Remy Martin, I think he did a great job. We're gonna see him in the playoffs. We're gonna see Gold Machine and Remy Martin in the playoffs. I think we've got 3 North American guys in the playoffs now. Those 2 and NYC Chris out of the 6, or is it 32 that have made it now in total to the playoffs?
What, to the playoffs in general?
Yeah. How many? It's
well, you got the 32 from the 2 Winter Cup and Spring Cup, and then you've got EMLS, so that's 2 spots.
Oh yeah, so we got Liaz and my man from Texas. God, how am I blanking on his name? That's my boy.
Kid
Mamito, the kid. So we got those guys. I don't know. Yo, they might do something. Oh, big shout out to Boston Monster, by the way, the 30-month resub. FUTWIZ Delonius, I was also very impressed with the way he did. FaZe Tass, now he did go out to Remy Martin, like I was saying. I mean, we all know Tass from, being the first regional champion in FIFA 17. So that kind of set a precedent, I would say, in expectation from him. From us, because when you see the first champion, you're like, oh, this guy is always gonna be
dominate. Yeah,
he's always gonna dominate. How do you think he's done since Paris?
I mean, strictly on results, not great. I think he finished. Did he finish bottom of the group at the grand finals in London?
Yeah.
He then came away from hashtag. I think. Qualifying for events, he got there. He faced up against Guerrilla in Barca, so can't really question that.
Yeah, that was a tough break.
Yeah, he's part of that Unilad roster as well for Gfinity, so he's got an opportunity there. If Gfinity get into the if Unilad make it to the finals to qualify for the playoffs with Unilad through Gfinity. So he has got an opportunity. He could participate in the Club World Cup as well, potentially.
That's true. So he still has chances to move on. And I'm sure a lot of his fans will be hoping that. And then 4 and 3, we had Herozia, who did go really far. He really... If that guy gets a hold of the game that he's playing, like, he can do...
the possession.
He can do anything to you. He has... Guys who are, I don't know if you guys watched in the chat, if you watch any of his games, but I mean, I've never seen somebody out, like, just give Kurt 0 options. Like, I've never seen Kurt with no options available. Like, you see the frustration on Kurt's face, like, he just couldn't touch the ball.
Yeah, he beat Ryan 8-3, he beat Kurt 5-1, then he beat Harry 5-2. Like...
Unbelievable.
Some of them results were like pretty ridiculous to get to the semi-finals. It's just the way that he plays. Like he will literally just frustrate your opponent, like all game if he needs to, and then just take his chances when they come. He'll capitalize on your mistake. Like that's just how he plays.
Exactly. I remember one of the other pros was saying. I think one of the guys that played him. I think it might have been Ryan, who says that. Yeah, he's so good at just pulling your defenders away. From where they need to be. That's like the one thing he's better than anybody else is just taking the defenders away. He's not necessarily like playing faster than you. He's not playing better than you. He's just more patient than you, and then he's kind of like turning your own team against you in some way. So that was the group stage. I think we can wait. It only just shows the group. I don't know. We can go up here and see the knockout rounds. So on Xbox, is this PlayStation? Hold on. Actually, let's go talk about the Swiss round for PlayStation 4. So 7-0 record. We had Nicolas, who I thought was gonna win the whole thing. I really thought he was going to win the whole thing, but he lost to Eisvogel through probably one of the most unlucky, the unluckiest goal I've ever seen in a FUT Champs final. It was a free kick deflection.
Yeah, off Holy's face.
Off Holy's face. It was just like, oh my god. Other than that, I always thought he was just going to steamroll everybody and move on. If he played MSDosary, who do you think would have won?
I don't know. It's very hard to call. I don't. The thing is with Nicolas' results, I think he scraped past Gotsary 3-2, and Gotsary should have at least. He probably should have beat him. He missed a penalty. Gotsary against him, and then it weren't convincing when he beat him, and then Eisvogel knocked him out round after. If it had got past Eisvogel and then he'd have had to beat Zizinho in the final as well. I don't know. I think MSDosary had probably done him, to be honest. I couldn't see anybody stopping MSDosary on that final day.
Everything seemed to be going MSDosary's way, it seemed like. And for 6-1 on the PlayStation, we had The Stranger, IX Lev, Dami, and Lord Hjorth. I mean, The Stranger, he's already off to the playoffs, but after the group stage, when did he go out? Did he go out in the round of 32 or?
The Stranger, yeah, he went out to FIFA Ulsten 6-5, I think.
FIFA Ulsten,
I remember.
FIFA Ulsten, but he's already, I mean, he's definitely one of the best players in Germany right now, but he's already off to the playoffs. For the 5-2 record, we had Aggie, Dito, Zizinho, Adani, PM, Maestro, who for me was one of the best players there. There was something, the way Maestro he just keeps on attacking. I think he was one of the most enjoyable people I was watching at the tournament. I don't know if a lot of his matches got played, but definitely you should check him out on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. Like, really funny guy in person as well, from France, representing Lille.
I think going back to FIFA Ulsten as well, he somebody told me he plays on 100 aggression, 100 pressure, straight from the off. Like, that's his custom tactics.
100 aggression. Wow. And I'm guessing... You know, the funny thing is that at Barcelona, he had the most goals in the Swiss round. I remember. So I guess
well, he lost 12... he drew 12-12 against Zizinho. That was the game.
Oh, my God.
And they lost on penalties.
Yeah, he only lost on penalties. I had a great video about that, actually. Just the reaction. So, he almost beat Zizinho on penalties, but... I don't know what happened to his goal. You know how penalties are. His goalkeeper did some dumb stuff. His goalkeeper made a save, but it kind of squeaked under his thigh or something like that. But it was one of the most ridiculous penalty shootouts I've ever seen. I'm trying to find it here. Hold on. I just got a whole bunch of Dosary videos, and I've got Basin putting on makeup. 37K views. That's great. A lot of people want to see Basin doing that. But yeah, FIFA used to a lot of the Danish players. I think they did really good, except for, well, I would not except for Aggie, but Aggie just had won ESWC, so he's already off to the playoffs. Aggie's always very hard on himself in terms of his performance, but he's off to the playoffs, so he should feel pretty good about that. Do you think he's a favorite to win the E World Cup?
Who? Aggie?
Aggie, yeah. Would you say he's one of the favorites? Or is he one of those people he's either...
Who's that? Hashtag Aggie?
Hashtag Aggie, yeah.
I think he's probably up there. He's been a champion before, 2014. He looks very comfortable with hashtag at the minute. It looks like he's enjoying his FIFA when it comes down to the events. I think at PSG, there were a lot of pressure on him to perform. And there is pressure on him now, but I think he's thriving under that pressure at hashtag. Like, with Gfinity, very, very poor performance from hashtag in that. And then... coming out of the back of that, had to perform at ESWC and did perform at ESWC. So I think he's probably one of the favourites, but I think anyone's got a shout, really, at the Grand Finals.
It's going to be interesting to see who, because I think with the Grand Finals, it's really just whoever
Whoever turns up.
Yeah, whoever turns up, whoever's day it is. It's really just about if it's your day or not, honestly. That's the one thing I've noticed about these. It's if it's your day, you're going to do fine. If it's not, then you're going to be out of the tournament. T-Mox was 4-3. I mean, T-Mox is my guy. I mean, I'm hoping he's not in the playoffs yet, is he?
Not that I know of, no.
I don't think he's in the playoffs. Hopefully he makes it somehow because he's one of my favorite people to chat to. Marcuso was 4-3. Gotzer is 4-3. Looking at the people who had like the 4-3s and the 5-2 records, those are the people that actually ended up going really far. So I don't know if it's like if you have a perfect record or a really strong record, then you kind of lose focus, or it's better to like sneak in without a lot of hype on your back. I'm wondering which one's better.
All 4 finalists on each console finished 5-2. MSDosary, Eisvogel, and Zinio all finished 5-2.
Someone in the chat says T-Mox still has the Club World Cup. He will play on PS4 and Saltor will play on Xbox. I hope both of them go through. Some of the nicest guys in the FIFA scene. Now moving on to the knockout round, we have the PlayStation knockout round. Nicolas versus Joxan. So Joxan is a buddy of mine. I opened his rewards. This was his first LAN event, so he was very excited all the way from North America. I think he was very happy that he made it to the round of 32. Obviously, you know, when you play someone like Nicolas, you're probably expected to go out. And Nicolas did dominate him in that tournament, but another North American guy who I think you should keep an eye on. And then Nicolas moved on to face Shihan, who I thought Shihan was actually really good this tournament. And I think even leading into it, he was amazing. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Shihan?
Yeah, he was really good in that game as well. Quite unfortunate to lose out. I think he was drawing 1-1 for a large portion of that game. And then in the second leg, Nicolas just turned it up another notch. I think the thing with Shihan is, we said it on commentary a lot, if he can keep his emotions under control, he's one of the best players going, on PS4. He just has to, be, laser focused into the game, because as soon as, he starts, raging here and there, or letting his, emotions and his passion get the better of him, that's when we see, him get beat.
To be fair to him, I didn't see him get angry this time. I mean, I did watch a couple of his games. And, I mean, one thing I always notice when a lot of the pros play against Nicolas and they lose, no one's ever mad that they lose.
Yeah, you just put your hands up and, yeah, you're pretty ridiculous at the game.
Exactly. Because after Shihan lost to Nicolas, he just went up to him, just gave him a hug, was, talking to him and everything. I was just like, huh. Everybody who loses to Nicolas is just kind of yeah, you know, no BS. Yeah, you're just better than me in this game.
Do you know how good Nicolas is, Chu?
How good is he?
I spoke to Dito, and Dito said, who do you think is going to win the PS4 side? Usually when you ask another player, they'd say themselves. He went, Nicolas. Nicolas is going to win the entire thing. No one can beat Nicolas right now.
Only the game could beat Nicolas with that goal. I saw a great tweet from Ice Principe, one of last year's regional champions. Says, "There's no defeat in the heart of a fighter. Nicolas 99, best in the world." That's after Nicolas went out. So when you hear other pros talking about this man like this, it kind of shows how good this guy is. This guy, I think he is literally the best PlayStation player ever. I think if there's a tournament that just everything goes his way, I think he steamrolls everybody. I think Barcelona, God decided to bless DH Tex. Not that DH Tex wasn't good, but you know, it was DH Tex's day. It was F2 Tex's day. You know,
I think if you just look on results this year, on the PS4 side, Nicolas is probably the best player, and then on the Xbox side, you can't look past Nicolas NRascek. 2 console finals, he's been the top 2 player at both major events this year.
That's a good point about NRascek. And the thing is, NRascek, he is a free agent at the moment. He's still been a free agent, but his, you know, a lot of people, I was asking a lot of people from the German community, and they were saying that, you know, he can be he's a controversial figure in the community, through one way or the other. But when it comes to a LAN, they were saying that he has what it takes no matter what. When it comes to LAN, he's gonna go far, and we've seen it so far. We saw him take out Gorilla last time in Barcelona, and then he lost to F2 Tex. And this time, probably one of the most unbelievable games I've seen in FIFA. I was sweating.
Oh, that match against Desari was
my god,
unbelievable.
I was losing my absolute mind in that match. That was probably one of the best games. That's probably one of the best games I've seen since. Was it Gorilla? Not Gorilla. Sean Allen versus who was it last year? One of those crazy matches that we had. NRascek. Trying to find NRascek. We had one crazy match last year with Gorilla. I think it was no, sorry. It was Sean Allen and Dax. I think that was the one of the craziest matches from last year. But NRascek Dosary, if you guys can, I don't know if there's any. I think, is this it? No, this is the Eisvogel one. If you guys can find a video of that game was probably the game of the entire tournament. Do you see NRascek getting signed?
Pardon?
Do you see NRascek getting signed in the future? Because, I mean, for someone who went so far in Barcelona, the fact they didn't get signed afterwards.
Yeah, I think he's probably had a lot of conversations with teams, but sometimes, like, if the player's doing well and performing at events and they feel like they don't need a team, they're just not going to go into a team until they feel like it's the right time. We've spoken to a lot of pros, and they've said, yeah, I've had loads of offers, but nothing's really appealed to me that much.
Yeah, that's a good point. And he gets to keep a lot more of his prize money if he if he does win. And he seems like he's doing just fine on his own. The chat is asking why controversial. I'm not too sure. I just know that a lot of the German community people said that he's one of those guys. He's kind of, I think he does things his way kind of thing. I couldn't get the vibe exactly, but it seemed like he just kind of does things his way. And from what I was seeing at the tournament, he was just kind of like, because usually the only reason I asked was because usually when a German competitor is on the stage, most or like you'll hear a lot of the other German community members in the crowd like cheering really loudly. Like most of them, like when it's Dito, when it's T-Mox, when it's Salzor, like you usually hear like everybody cheering. But with Rasek, I always noticed that it was just like the two guys that were with him that were cheering. So I was always like wondering about that, you know. So that's why I asked one of the German community members. They're like, oh yeah, you know, he's kind of like he's definitely there on his own, but he always performs. Everybody in the German community knows that he performs. When it comes to LAN, like he's gonna go far. I'm still looking at the. Let's go back to the PlayStation bracket. Eisvogel.
Something.
Go on.
At this event that were different compared to Barca. Or no coaches available for the players.
That is true.
Do you think that had an impact on anybody?
I mean, I kind of like the way that there was no coaches.
Yeah, so like you weren't allowed someone stood behind you and like talking about the game and stuff.
I think that was, I mean, in terms of the mapping out of the tournament, I think that was definitely a positive. I think, who was it? There was somebody, was it Taz was saying that if he was coaching Gorilla, that Gorilla would have gone a lot further. Like if he had Gorilla behind him, or
yeah. So I think there you go. Mover FIFA in the chat.
Oh hey,
so
speaking of coaches, like Mover, hey,
he can be like very influential for somebody who needs like somebody over the shoulder telling him like, this is what your opponent's doing. This is how you can like break him down, keeping him in like line mentally and as well.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Yeah, because if, I mean, you can't have Mover FIFA walking around the place. Like, that would be too distracting. That'd be way too distracting, man. But no, I wonder how that's going to affect people in the future. I wonder how that's going to, if that's going to be the same with FIWC, because, I mean, we all saw how important it was to have Sean Allen by Gorilla's side to go all the way to the final. And then I guess it'll show you which players know how to break the situation down by themselves. Like people like Dito always know how to like I remember there was a match. I forgot what match it was. It was between two Germans, and one of my friends was saying that like they spent about half the game in the menus because every time they scored, they would pause and just rearrange everything. I think it was Dito versus another German. I forget who. I'm gonna look it up. But every time they would concede, one of them would concede a goal, they would pause. rearrange everything, and then go back again. Another one would score a kickoff goal. They would pause, rearrange. So I think players like that. What's up? What did you say it was?
I think it might be Cody the Finisher.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was Cody the Finisher versus Dito. Cody the Finisher was another guy that we missed out on in terms of, like, he didn't get too far. But you were talking about, I remember before the tournament started, you were talking about Eisvogel, the Iceman, a lot. Said that
Eisvogel,
he impressed you. He was on, he was on my plane on the way back.
Gfinity as well. I think that helped him playing weekly against like really good opposition in like a high pressure situation. Gave him a lot of like good experience coming into this event. And like we called it early, like Thursday night when we were traveling back up from Gfinity to Manchester. That Eisvogel was definitely someone to watch out for, but we didn't think he was going to go as far as he did.
Yeah, I mean, he had a bit of luck in just the Nicolas game, but other than that, very composed, very disciplined performance. I remember, I think I was talking to Maverick Wolves, and they were kind of frustrated with his gameplay because it was very like robotic. You know, it was very high percentage chance, high possession, only taking like certain chances, not doing anything crazy. So. Man, I think I don't know what is that what it is about the German players that just makes them go far? Like they just like going with the plan.
Play for the win, not 2010.
Yeah, it's insane how they play. Like they're just so good at just like sticking to a plan and just executing it. I think that's what sets them differently from everybody else. And like they kind of take the emotion out of it. It's something that they're very good
at. They set up with the formation that they play, and then literally they just count everything else like. Every other emotion away from the game for that, like, whatever it is, 12, 13 minutes of the game. They're just focused on that. And I think that comes from having, like, LAN tournaments, weekly tournaments in Germany, pretty much, like, year-round FIFA tournaments that they can compete against other, like, really good pros. So you have got a lot of experience against other players. You have also got a lot of experience playing at high stakes.
That's true. That's why a lot of the Saudi guys do well. A lot of the South American guys do well. One guy I want to shout out on the PlayStation side who I thought played like Super Saiyan FIFA at one point is FUTWIZ Honeybadger. Unfortunately, barely just missed by on a playoff spot, like through some ridiculous means. I think he only missed out because of his head-to-head goal difference or something like that. I remember seeing him after the tournament. But his game against Aggie, I don't know how to describe it, guys. It was like Goku was playing FIFA. Like I couldn't.
He won the first like 3-0.
Yeah, he won against Aggie 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the game. Like I've never seen somebody just like outplay Aggie. Like he was just quicker. In every aspect, he was just quicker. We got a new subscription from Infamous H. Big thank you to him. But usually I've seen him, like plays just like every other pro. I would say, like, and this is honest, like this is just honest, like observations. Like there was nothing that like when I first watched him back in the day. Oh, I think it was last year. Like nothing would stand out, but in this particular match, like. I can't describe how he played. It was just like he also played a match against NYC Chris where NYC Chris was up 3-0, and then Badger came back.
In the second leg, yeah.
He beat him in the second leg 7-1. He beat NYC Chris 7-1. I think that's probably Chris's biggest defeat in tournament history. And I talked to him after. He was like, "I just played the best game of FIFA I've ever played in my life." And I was just like, wait, is this guy serious? He's like, yeah, like, I've never played that good. He's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I've never played this good. And then the next game he played against Ag, and I was like, this guy is not joking. This guy is on, like, it's like he reached a different, like dimension of FIFA or something like that. So, definitely one to watch. I just want to make sure you guys know about him, Honeybadger. People say he's the best player out of the Oceania region. So, make sure to give him a look. And hopefully he'll have another opportunity to qualify. Now, I want to talk about Dasari.
Should we jump back over to the Xbox?
Yeah. I mean, we'll slowly get to Dasari. Gorilla, how would you describe the tournament for him?
I don't know. I just feel like something like this tournament in Manchester just didn't completely click for Gorilla. Like, if you look at the results, some of the results you had in qualifying as well, in the Swiss style, like, you are going up in games and then letting his opponent come back into him, which is quite un-Gorilla-like, and then, I don't know, just something didn't completely click with him. In the end, did go out to goal machine after a 3-0 up to the 80th minute. Threw that game away, really, late on. Gave away 2 goals. I think pretty much all tournament long we're playing 3-5-2, which is something else that we don't really see from Gorilla.
Yes, exactly. I think that was the main thing.
What did you think?
No, because I remember before the tournament started, the first person I talked to was Gorilla, and he was just like, "Chu, this game is ridiculously slow." I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "This is the slowest I've ever seen it." I'm like, "Gorilla, are you just saying Gorilla things?" He's like, "No, this is terrible." And then I talked to some other pros, and they were like, "Yeah, it's probably the slowest it's ever felt." So I think he was kind of a lot of them in that situation right before the tournament started, where in a bit of a panic where their tactics just weren't going to work because they weren't expecting slow gameplay. They kind of were preparing for a faster gameplay. So, like somebody in the chat is saying, like, I think he went 3-5-2. One, because he's probably tested it out with TAS. I know TAS was experimenting with that earlier, a couple months before the tournament, a couple weeks before the tournament. And I remember him saying that defending was a bit rough. Like, it was hard enough for him to defend anyway. But with this version of the game, it was kind of like, all right, how about we just outscore the opponent? And I think that's why he went 3-5-2. But at the same time,
yeah, it wasn't only Gorilla who played 3-5-2 though. As you said, TAS played 3-5-2. #Ryan started the game in the knockout stage 3-5-2 as well, I think. Fully played 3-5-2.
Yeah, fully played.
A few of the English guys. Yeah, Ryan against Fully. They played the entire game in 3-5-2.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see the pattern there. It was like the English guys that I was talking to at the start of the tournament who were like, it was Gorilla, TAS, all those guys who were like worried about it was so slow. Like, I think a lot of the other competitors from other countries, like I remember in Barcelona, like Salzer was like, "Oh my God, this is so slow," but okay, that's a good thing. Like, they'll see the positive out of it and try to take advantage of the positives. And we saw Salzer do very well in Barcelona. Whereas I know the English guys, I know Ryan was a bit worried about the slowness, TAS, Gorilla as well. So I think in the England camp, who definitely plays a lot more direct versus, like, the likes of France, who play possession, Germany plays controlled. I think with England, they mostly play speed. I guess they would be the most worried about this. So that's why they, I don't know what that was. That's why they would be worried about having to go 3-5-2. And I think it also ties in with the, having a coach there, the lack of not having a coach there. Somebody would have pointed that out. Maybe a mover would have pointed that out in a match against Goal Machine with like the 3-5-2. There's some points in the match that you have to change things up versus just sticking with 3-5-2 throughout the whole game.
Just being able to notice that something's not going right and then change it straight away. I think that was one thing that Dasari did pretty much all the way through the tournament that we were very surprised with. Like, as soon as he realised something weren't working, switch formation. Don't matter if you're winning. If he could see that the game were like slipping away from him, or that he was getting away easy passes, or his high press weren't working, switch formation, almost like reset the game a little bit, and then go again.
Yeah, because I think Gorilla's, arguably the greatest ever to play this game. I think he's one of those players that, like, he'll just keep playing, like, because you see his gameplay, he'll just keep going at you. He'll just keep going the same way, to try to overpower you. But then I think that's why having the likes of Sean there at FIWC helps him, because he'll just keep going in that direction without noticing anything else that's going on, because he's so, like, zoned into attacking. Versus someone could come in, a Sean Allen, a mover could come in and be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, notice this is happening." Versus I think he just kind of sees, all out attack versus the other side of the game or other aspects. Sean shout out to Skill Shack with a 19-month resub. We're here talking to Richard Buckley, commentary legend, 1-year commentary legend in the FIFA scene, still a legend. We're talking about the Xbox side of the bracket. We talked about Remy Martin, Herozia, hashtag Harry, the Englishman that got the furthest in this tournament, the only Englishman left in the top. Was it 8 on Xbox?
Top 8, yeah, on both sides.
On both sides. I'm very proud of him because, you know, usually the questions are always about, you know, is Harry taking this tournament seriously? Everybody knows Harry. One of the greatest guys to be around in terms of a party sense. Definitely talented. Probably, arguably one of the most talented FIFA players out there. But everybody was always asked, you know, is he there to take this tournament seriously? And it looked like he was. It was a very different vibe from him. I could tell from the start. Way more serious.
Very switched on.
Yeah,
very switched on. Knew that he had a job to do, and that will get the playoff spot. I also think a little bit more pressure put on him as well. At hashtag, knowing that, put on himself, you could say, knowing that Aggie, Dreamer, and Ryan have all got playoff spots. So I think himself knew, look, this tournament, it's pretty much in my home city, in my home. He's from Wigan, Manchester and Wigan, quite close to each other. Let's just try and perform and get this playoff spot wrapped up so I don't have to worry about it going forward.
Exactly. Thank you for the bits, Rob TGF. Yeah, you could feel it was a very different Harry. Like you said, dialed in. Like usually you'll see him like joking around, you know, with a lot of the other guys, even before his match, or he'll be like, "Oh, I didn't even prepare for this match," you know, that kind of thing. He'll just be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go in and see what happens." No, you saw none of that. Like I saw absolutely none of that. He was quiet going to every match. He was thinking about everything. You know, he knew what tactics he was going to go in. He knew the players he was going to use. Yada yada yada. Very different. And I was really happy to see how well he did and get that playoff spot because I know that, you know, it's one of those people that you know it's important to them, but I think to adapt to the situation, they pretend like it's not important to make it more comfortable for themselves. So I think it was very good to see that like those two parts of him aligned, and he went far because he's probably the best personality in the FIFA esports scene, and you want the talent to match the personality.
Just while we're looking at that bracket, just look at some of the results that Dasari picked up on the way to the final. Like, arguably,
oh my god,
the biggest goal margins by anybody in the tournament, the most comfortable victories. 6-1, 7-1, 5-1, 8-2.
Jesus Christ. What a tank. What a god, man. I was going to ask you, MSDosary, is he an official FIFA legend at this point?
I think he's up there. He's won 2 major events now. I think he won in... Whistler?
In Whistler. In 2 major events in 2 separate games, so it's not like...
2 different games as well.
2 very
and also,
games.
You need to put into consideration, he wasn't allowed to play at the FIWC Wrestler World because he's from Saudi Arabia, that tournament was held in Qatar. So he wasn't eligible to play in that. You've got to look, every single tournament pretty much that he's turned up to, he's won. And I think he's going to be at that grand final. I mean, he's going to be at the playoffs, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take some beating.
I was going to say, does he look like a favorite to take home the Euro Cup?
I'm going to say, I'm going to sit on the fence. You've got to say he's one of the favourites because he's coming in as a champion. You've got to say Tex is one of the favourites because he's coming in a champion. Then you've got all the usual names as well. But he's not at the finals yet. He's got to get through them playoffs first.
That's a good point. He's not there yet. He's definitely... One thing I love about him is very quiet guy. Like, he's probably the most peaceful looking guy when he's not playing. Like, you'll see him like in the tournaments. You always see him just like... He just kind of strolls around. When someone else is playing, you'll see him walking around. He definitely has some. One thing I always notice about him when he plays, he will trigger you with celebrations. He doesn't look like the kind of person that will, but he will dab. He will run to the camera. He will blow kisses at the camera. Just these little things to try and set you off. But then as soon as he's not playing, you're just like, how is that guy capable of doing stuff like that? You know, that's always one thing I notice.
He's a character, and also he's got a massive fan base behind him.
True,
they were in Saudi Arabia, who like whenever he's competing, they'll be there. They'll be in the chat. They'll be on Twitter, letting you know that they're supporting their player.
The fan base of his, like, they were like, I don't know if this is a Google Translate or the Twitter Translate, but when you translate like what they say to him in like in Arabic, it sounds like poetry almost. Like, oh, it's so amazing to see this man from the stars, like execute our dreams and bring us glory while all of the people in the chat are wishing him well. You're just like, geez, like, do they love him this much? Like, they're so proud of this guy, you know? It's oh my god, it's crazy to see. Like, if you like, let me take a look at like one of my tweets that I put about him, and if you see the replies to it, it's unbelievable the kind of fan base he has. But yeah, I think he might be official FIFA legend status. I mean, there has not been anybody yet, right? He's the first person to win 2 majors in FIFA 17 and 18, correct? I think he is.
I'd say so. In terms of like EA events, he definitely is.
Right.
I find it very hard to look past him, to be honest. Like, also the way that he plays as well. Like, his high press in the game.
Oh my god,
he's so hard to play against.
I think that's what set him apart. Because I would say that he's probably the person I've seen defend the most kickoffs successfully. That's one thing I noticed about him going in, especially in the NRascek game. Because I won't lie to you guys, in the tournament, kickoff was real in that tournament. I would say the conversion of kickoff was almost like 50%. Like, when someone scored, like, I wasn't even like excited because I knew the kickoff was coming. But the one thing I always noticed about his was he always did a better job at stopping kickoff just by pressing. Not necessarily like, you know, sometimes you just get lucky off kickoff, and it hits, you know, someone takes a deflection, yada yada yada. But he was always just so good about just like, I don't know how he was pressing differently. Is there anything you noticed that he did differently? It felt like he was controlling more players at the same time.
I think his player switching is pretty ridiculous how quick he does it. So I'd be confident to say he flicks everything with the right stick on his player switching. So he can get there like a millisecond, half a second earlier to move his players across the pitch. Also, in that 4-4-2, I don't know if it's just from kickoff, but his 2 CDMs drop a lot deeper, it seems, in the 4-4-2 second formation. Because he plays 4-4-2-2.
Yeah.
So he has 2 CDMs. It seems like they drop a lot deeper than the 4-2-3-1 CDMs do. Mm-hmm. That was just something that I picked up.
Yeah, and like you were saying before, he did a very good job of switching. Like he switched every time there was a new situation coming up. If he went ahead, he would pause and switch. If he was behind, I think when he was ahead, he would
4-3-3.
Yeah, when he was ahead, he would go 4-3-3 defend, I believe. And then when he was the second variation. Then when he needed a goal, 4-4-2. If he wanted to sit back a bit deeper but still wanted to go on the attack, 4-4-2-2. And it was literally every situation he took, he stopped and read the situation and decided, all right, I need to switch it up. And I guess did they have unlimited pauses, right?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, they had unlimited pauses because he paused, I want to say he paused about 5-6 times every half from the Xbox final and the grand final. Yeah, he was just very good at micromanaging his formations and things like that. I think that's why he was so successful. But yeah, I will like kickoff was real. I mean, I can't tell if it's just that the guys were attacking so well that it was hard to stop kickoff because these guys are professional players. But at the same time, I mean, these guys are professionals at defending as well. But I just felt like every time I would just look at the screen and be like, yeah, this guy's gonna score this goal. And half the time, like, I was always right. And I don't know.
A lot of end-to-end goals.
Yeah, it was a lot of end-to-end goals. Sorry, go on.
I think what you said though, like, the person who defended it the best was the person who went all the way.
Yep, and it kind of says something, and I feel like that could be the main reason why there's so much, I think, so much stress with the pros is that, you know, to break down another pro, get that goal, your emotions are high, and then to immediately concede, to take your emotions to the opposite direction, I think is probably the worst feeling, I would say. I think that's what stresses people out so much. It's just like, it's more of a roller coaster of emotions versus 17, in my opinion, where you're going from extreme happiness to extreme like frustration. But I mean, we can hope that gets improved in like things like FIFA 19. Before we wrap up, let's see if we have some questions for the chat from the chat for Richie. But for you, who aside from like the likes of Desire, who do you think stood out for you the most from the tournament?
Eisvogel, I thought massive performance. The two North American guys, Remy Martin and Goal Machine, really good performance from those guys. Herozia, just his games that he actually had to win to get into that position. Hashtag Ryan Kurt and then Harry to get to the semi-finals. Nicolas NRascek again, proving why he's arguably one of the best players on Xbox. I think going forward right now at that playoffs, you can't really call a favourite.
I still think Nicolas.
You would still say Nicolas?
Yeah, I still, at least for PlayStation. I don't know, like he was probably the most convincing player I saw up until that unlucky match against Eisvogel. He was just, there was something I always noticed about him was when I was watching him and he would go down a goal, I was never worried for him. You know, I was always like, well, he's gonna get one back. It was a vibe I got with him and Dito. I'm like, they're gonna get one back. Like, I'm not too bothered. Usually I'm like, oh crap, is that guy gonna get one back? With Nicolas, no emotion. When he concedes, zero emotion, zero stress. And then you're
plays with literally no emotion. Like he's there to do a job, and I think that's one of the reasons as well. Like the traveling thing that I said earlier. Like he's traveling like a ridiculously long way from Argentina. He's there to do a job. He's there to play FIFA. He's not there to get embroiled in an emotional game of FIFA. He's there to go as far as he can, win as much money as he possibly can through being something that he's got natural talent at. He enjoys doing it, and then come home.
Yeah. It was just ridiculous to see like how I never seen someone so cool after going down a goal. Like it was like you saw there was no difference between him going up a goal versus going down a goal. That was like the first player I've ever seen that happen to. Like you'll see some kind of tell on somebody's face when they concede or where they score a goal. Like you literally saw nothing there, and I was always more confident with him than any other player that like, yeah, if he goes down, like he shouldn't stress out no matter. Like there was a time like he was down a goal and it was like the 75th minute and I was still like, no, he's gonna score. And he literally
scored 1-0 down against Dito.
Yeah, right? And you're just like, it's Dito, but I know Nicolas is gonna score.
Yeah, he'll always create a chance. He will literally always create a chance. And some players can't do that. Like, especially against someone like Dito who holds possession so well, they'll almost let the game get away from themselves. Whereas with him, like, if you're watching him, you always will get a goal. I think that just goes again to show how good, even though Eisvogel did get that lucky goal, like how good that performance was from
him. Yeah, it's for me. I still think going into playoffs, I would still say I would be the most confident in him. If I could pick one person, I would still pick him. Wait, do you think does kickoff make these tournaments way more exciting? Because I feel like this was more exciting than like a lot of last year's.
I think it adds another level to the game that you like. I spoke to hashtag Riot and Fully.
Oh god,
and they both
their
said
match.
Until you've defended.
Sorry, what was that you cut off? Hello? Hold on, let me refresh my thing. Let me refresh this real quick. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, sorry. What'd you say? You cut off.
I was speaking to Fully and to Ryan, and they both said you can't celebrate when you score a goal. You celebrate when you defend the kickoff.
No, that is FIFA 18. Like, I hate to say it, but like the most stressful times of watching a match is waiting for the person you want to win is watching them defend a kickoff. Like, you literally sit there and wait. Like, if it was any guy, like, who was I, like, watching Desari, like, I was like, all right, I want Desari to win. When it was him versus NRascek, I was just like, I was more worried when he was defending a kickoff versus when he could actually conceded a goal. Like, because I was just like, oh my God, just get the ball back. That's all. Like, and you can see everybody's face. It's just like, dude, get the ball back, get the ball back. Everybody's watching this like, all he has to do is get the ball back. And you even hear some people in the crowd cheering once their favorite person gets the exactly when their favorite player defends a kickoff. They are literally cheering. Like, you be hearing people, like, especially in the grand final, people were like literally cheering when he got the kickoff back. So that kind of says something about it, right? But I don't know why it's been in other FIFAs, but I don't know why here it's more predominant, and it feels like it happens more often. Like, it's been in 13, it's been in 14. Actually, 14 is probably the worst one. It's been in 16. 17 wasn't as bad, but I remember it was bad in 16. But we'll see what happens in future FIFAs. Richie, commentator legend, thank you so much for joining us on Top 100 TV. What's coming up? What's coming up next for you?
Go on. What's going on?
What's coming up next for you? What's your next move?
It will be the Gfinity Elite Series Finals on the 27th, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Of April. So a week on Friday. 4 teams left. Fnatic, Envy, Unilad, and Method.
Who do you see taking that one?
I can't call it.
Oh, God. This guy's a wuss. Call it. Call somebody.
No.
Oh my God. F2 Tex asks, why does Richard predict everyone to win?
So I'm always right, Tex. You know that.
Actually, that's a good point, Tex. I feel like he says like 20 players that he calls out like 20 players at the start of a tournament, and then at the end he's like, oh yeah, I told you, I backed it for the start. I'm like, dude, you backed like 20 people, but.
Yeah, if you back 20 people, at least one's going to come in. I'm winning a little bit of money.
I know, right? He's like, oh, I'm going to back Gorilla, Desari, Kurt, and he just names like 20 of the best players. But we'll keep an eye out for him on the playoffs. So keep an eye out for who he predicts. We're going to actually get like a full-on prediction from him before the playoffs so we can call him out after. Richie, thank you so much for joining us at Top 100 TV. Have a good rest of your night, and I hope you're going to be great. I'm sure you're going to be great on Gfinity. Guys, make sure to tune into Gfinity. Follow him on Twitter. I've posted his Twitter in the chat, and make sure to give the guy a follow, all right?
Speak to you soon. Thank you for having me.
All right, take it easy, buddy. See ya.